The first round of the 12-team college football playoff is over, and now we are down to 8 teams. We're going to get to take a closer look at some of the teams that have had a little bit extra time to prepare. 4 teams were given an automatic bid, and they got a bye week in the college football playoff, and those teams are going to face off. The Boise State Broncos out of the Mountain West Conference were one of those teams after going 11-1 this season, with their only loss coming against number 1 seeded Oregon, and now they are going to have to face the Penn State Nittany Lions, a team that has looked very good so far this season, and I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Leave a comment down below, let me know who you guys think is going to win this game. If you guys enjoy college football content and you enjoy these types of preview videos, I have a preview for every other college football playoff game going up to the national championship. We also did the conference championship previews as well. So if you enjoy college football content, be sure to go check those out. But we're going to get this started with the team that wasn't on a bye, and that was the Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State is coming off a game where they absolutely dismantled SMU, and you've got to think that the vibes are extremely high if you are a Penn State fan. For the first time in the James Franklin era, it really felt like this was a team that belonged on a big stage. That's been the big knock with Penn State year in and year out, is that they can get to the big dance, but they choke in a big game. We saw it earlier this year against Ohio State. History repeated itself against Oregon, but in this game against SMU, they looked prepared and their game plan was absolutely fantastic. But it didn't look pretty at the start of this game. I think many people are going to have some concerns about the passing game. Drew Aller looked a little bit frazzled in this game, and he felt like he never really got settled in. The offensive line, I felt like, was consistently giving up pressure, and the SMU defense was consistently in the backfield in this game, which is something that I wasn't expecting going into it. This offense is one that is going to be tough to stop, though, despite the lackluster passing game, because they have such an elite running game. Penn State has 2 of the most dynamic runners in the country, and that was really the difference maker for them on offense against SMU. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton combined for 160 yards and 3 touchdowns against SMU. That'll win you football games, especially when you have a defensive performance like Penn State had. Everything felt like it was clicking for the Nittany Lions on the defensive side of the ball. They had 3 interceptions, 2 of which were returned for touchdowns, and they were constantly in the backfield creating pressure, and they were able to stop the run effectively. You couldn't have asked for a better defensive performance, and if that's the version we're getting from Penn State, this is going to be a really tough task for Boise State. I don't know if there's a single team in the country who would have thrived against the defense that Penn State had on Saturday. Now, the pass catching situation is going to be a bit of a concern. They don't have these elite weapons outside of Tyler Warren, and if the pass rush lands for Boise State, it could be tough for Penn State to move the football. This is going to be a tough matchup, though, and I think a lot of people are going to overlook Boise State because of the schedule, but the Boise State team was a really competitive team all year long, and it's not just ashtonjeanty. Let's just get the ashtonjeanty conversation over with. Jeanty is playing unbelievable football and has a very good chance of breaking Barry Sanders' record for most rushing yards in a single season in the college football playoff. He was second in Heisman voting, and he's the most dynamic weapon in the country. He has nearly 2,500 yards, he has 29 touchdowns, and is around 150 yards from breaking the all-time single-season record that has been held since Barry Sanders. He is the engine of this Boise State offense, but I think that this Boise State team is better than just ashtonjeanty. Maddox Madsen has been a very good quarterback this year for the Broncos. He can make plays happen in the run game, but his accuracy has been elite. He has a 72.1% completion percentage and has made some elite decisions with the football this year. He doesn't turn the ball over, and he's a smart decision maker. The receiving weapons aren't elite, and I kind of love that about them. Multiple players on this Boise State team have over 50 targets this year, and I think that's a benefit for the Broncos offense. They're well balanced, and they've got guys who can make plays when they are targeted. Defensively, they're also a lot of fun. Ahmad Hassanin has created pressure very well for this team, and they've had a solid defense. Boise State has a better resume than I think what first meets the eye. Many are going to talk about the competition level, but UNLV was ranked and they beat them twice, and this was a team that went into Oregon and kept the game very close. People forget that Oregon needed 2 special teams big plays in order to win this game. I think Boise State is an underrated team, and I don't think a lot of people are giving them the love they deserve. I don't think they're going to be a pushover in this game. If you go back to the beginning of the SMU-Penn State matchup, SMU did something that was very interesting that I think Boise State is going to be smart to try and replicate in this game. Kevin Jennings and the SMU offense did a really good job of pushing the tempo. They tried to get the Penn State defense on their heels, lead to miscommunications, and big plays happened for the SMU offense before they were unable to convert on 4th and goal. I think that should be the game plan for Boise State going into this game. Run the ball with Jeanty, get to the line quickly, and just wear this defense down with the speed of your offense. Unfortunately, SMU had to go away from this because they went down so much. But if this Boise State team can get off to a hot start, it could be tough for Penn State to get back in this game if Boise State plays with that tempo. Defensively, I think both of these teams have good pass rushes, but when you're comparing the Boise State pass rush to the Penn State one, it's not comparable. Abdul Carter is an absolute monster who is going to be a top 5 pick in the 2025 draft. That's going to be a tough matchup for whoever is going to be blocking him, and I just don't know if Boise State is going to have the talent in the trenches to get this done. When you get to the playoffs, that's what matters the most. It's the trench play. Do you have the offense? Do you have the defensive lines that can hold up against elite pressure? And I just don't know if Boise State has that. Not that they've been bad there, but talent is a big factor here, and Penn State is just a more talented team. 3 NFL players on their defensive front will probably be starters in the NFL. They've got 2 really good linebackers, and the secondary is playing great football as well. I've mentioned multiple times, I don't think Boise State is going to be a pushover in this game, but I do ultimately believe that Penn State is going to pull away and win this game pretty comfortably. I think this is going to be a 31-17 victory for Penn State, and they're going to advance to the college football playoff semifinals. Boise State has had an incredible run. Ashtonjeanty has been unbelievable, and I do ultimately believe he will break the rushing yards record in this game. But I think Penn State is just the more talented roster. I trust the trenches a little bit more. I think they're going to be able to run the ball effectively, and I think Drew Aller can have a bounce-back game against what's not an elite Boise State secondary. So I'm going to take Penn State to advance and what should lead to a very interesting semifinal matchup, and I can't wait to see what happens.